Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University, and Jane Foster and the Mighty Thor. I like the title. I mostly like this book. Look, if you only read the first couple of pages, you'd be like, it sucks. And you're right. The beginning of this book sucks. But it quickly picks up. Then it starts to suck again. But then it sets all the pieces up in just the right place for you to be like, I kind of want to read issue 2 now. Let's get talking about all that good stuff. This is part 1 of 5. The writer is Torun Grönbeck. Dude, they got a freaking Viking to write this. I want you to think about that. I don't care if they had to go back and get Eric the frickin' Red. Whatever it takes to give me a good frickin' Thor story, that's all I really want. They got a guy named Torun Grönbeck. This guy's got Viking written all over his name in Old English. Anyway, the artist is Michael Dowling. I don't think he's a Viking. Jesus Abertov, I think that he's Mexican. I'm pretty sure he's not a Viking, but you never know. Do like a 23andMe. You might find some. VC's Joe Sabino does letters and production, and Ryan Stegman, JP Meyer, and Marty Gracia do the cover art. Whole bunch of variant covers, as should be expected. 1, 2, 3, looks like 4 variant covers. And Thor was created by Stan Lee, Larry Lieber, and Jack Kirby. I believe Jane Foster was also. Anyway, this is pretty good. This is actually pretty good. Look, somebody's going around getting... I actually thought it was Malekith at first, since we're dealing with curse here, you know? But they find... this person goes and find a bunch of people who are trapped in Niflheim and says, okay, let's go and kick some butt and take some names and really mess with Thor. And it's like, okay, I'll do it. Hela says no, which is like, who the hell is going to recruit Hela? Hela's like in charge of Niflheim. So a lot of this stuff doesn't exactly make sense. This must have happened with her leave. I don't know. It looks like the Enchantress has a lot to do with this also by the time that you get more towards the end. And I was really happy to see her. There's a lot of females in this. There are a lot of females, and a lot of them seem to be using men. I don't have a problem with that, because at the end of the day, women can be real freaking manipulative. That's not meant to be an insult. It's just an observation. You know, think about that one movie, Mamma Mia, the musical. Beautiful movie, you know, with good soundtrack and all that stuff, right? ABBA, I think, does the soundtrack to that. Anyway, at one point, the one chick goes and says to the daughter, she says, remember, the man is the head of the household, but the woman is the neck, and she can turn the head any way that she desires. So no matter how you want to look at it, you'd be like, you're a sexist. Yeah, you're a mama. No, women are very good at manipulating men. You know how many times my wife gets me to open a freaking pickle jar? Okay, none of that. Anyway, I don't want to be opening pickle jars. That's not what I want to do for my life. I should get a paycheck for all the pickle jars I open. Who the hell's eating all these pickles? Anyway, all that being said, look, this was a really good comic book, all right? It's very slow in the beginning. And like I said, it kind of sort of sucks in the beginning, like, to be entirely honest. But then Jane Foster starts looking at things. She's hanging out with Roz Solomon. I know her a little bit from the comic books. Not one of my, wow, awesome characters, but whatever. Anyway, there's just some chick who's hanging out, and she's really just there so that Jane Foster can answer her questions while she's doing some internal dialogue. I love the internal dialogue in this. It seems like it's all Jane Foster's. There's some points where people are just talking and the internal dialogue is like, why are you talking like this? But when Jane Foster is thinking in this, it's fantastic. It's out of control fantastic, you know? What do you call it? You know what? I can give you a little bit of heads up. The Fortnite comic book that just came out this week, I started reading it, the Marvel Fortnite 0 hour thing, I think it's called. I'm just going to tell you right now, I did not like it at all. The writing in it was just, for all intents and purposes, was horrible. So I was thinking to read that one and give you guys a review. I don't feel the need to do an entire video just to say that I really didn't like the writing in this. The setup, everything, it was terrible. But just, there you go. If you decide to listen to this review, you actually got 2 reviews out of it. Jane, if I had any kind of a real problem with this, it's that they're doing this with Jane Foster. I get it, the Jane Foster thing, they need a Valkyrie and blah, 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 but whatever happened to Brunhilde, right? The Fear Itself, I did a spotlight on story for the Fear Itself side stories thing, and like, I love it. I think it was like 7 issues, maybe it was 12, whatever it was. It was amazing. It was amazing, and I loved it. It's one of my favorite Marvel events going. I think it was actually when Jason Aaron was doing really good work, when I actually liked Jason Aaron's work. But it was just an absolutely phenomenal, spectacular story, and I loved it. And Brunhilde is just one of my favorite characters, not just one of my favorite females. She's one of my top 5 females, you know what I'm saying? Mockingbird, and then it goes down from there. But I loved it, and they could have done this with her. If you ever read the old school Defenders comic books, her death sight was actually used. She was utilized. She was a main character. She was amazing. And now they just all but gotten rid of her. She's like in somebody else's body here. And for me, it's dumb. And Jane Foster is doing all the cool things that Brunhilde could have been doing. There's no need to take a character who's already existing, who's already got her own storyline. She could have had a beautiful death in that Thor issue, right? She could have just had a beautiful death and she's dead. And then Brunhilde herself brings her over to Valhalla, you know, the Asgardian heaven, and then boom, done. Like it's that simple, really. And we never have to so-called, you know, see her again, but we'll always have those fond memories of she was amazing, right? What a great way to, instead they give her Brunhilde's story instead. Okay, sure, cool. You take that out of it, and I love what they did with her, whether it's Jane Foster or Valkyrie that they're doing it with. Her death sight, everything that she's seeing, everything. The art in this. The characters are skinny. They're slight. Captain America doesn't look like he's got any more muscle definition than I do. Granted, I'm strong, but I mean, Captain America's supposed to be able to, like, we arm wrestle. He breaks my arm, tosses me, and then, you know, goes back and picks me up before I even land, right? Like, the guy's just supposed to be ridiculously strong. He doesn't look particularly strong in here. He looks normal, right? Like I said, he looks like he's got my build. I kind of want a Captain America who's like, which way to the beach? Oh, that way? Okay, let's go. I don't know why he'd have a Hungarian accent, but you get what I'm saying, right? Right? This guy who's not a human because he doesn't have a soul, like he does this freaky thing. I wish I could have gotten more on that. Like, was this some kind of a weird robot? I don't understand what happened here, but it was interesting. And then it just stopped. I need to see more of this. This is like the first time that we saw Agent Smith in the Matrix. It was like, wait, what exactly am I seeing here? What is this, right? That's the impression that I got, but then it just completely ended. Some dude shows up, or I think it's a chick. I hope it's not a dude, because then they're just doing a trans thing, and we've already got a gay marriage thing in here, and I get it's Pride Month, but can we just do good stories instead of just making some random golden ghost thing show up for two lousy panels? And, you know, when I was a girl, I used to do such and such. You mean when you were a little girl, or when you were a female and now you're something else? Because this was completely useless. If this doesn't make any sense. I don't know why this person showed up. None of this stuff makes sense. This was the dead son. You know what? Now I get it. This is the person who died. Oh, wow. Okay. No, I'm good with this. Should have said while I was a little girl. That's what confused me, the wording, because I didn't understand why this golden figure showed up, and I didn't understand this person was dying because the art, I indicated the art was kind of plain, right? But I get it now. Okay. That actually changes things a lot. That's really good. And they did show and not tell, but I wish they would have showed a little bit more. You know, when they used to do this with Brunhilde, the original true Valkyrie, it was beautiful. It's beautiful when they used to do that. Not save the police officer, because she can't save people. That's not her job, so to speak, right? A police officer ran in to save people, but he inhaled flames, and it singed his lungs, and he was not long for the world. And she picked him up and walked him into Valhalla. And I'm like, oh my God, I was a kid. And I was like, this is like the most beautiful thing ever. And it's in a comic book. Holy crap. And it was one of those moments that solidified for me that comics could really be something special, which is why it breaks my heart that Brunhilde isn't shown anymore. But whatever, that was just my experience. The second incarnation of the Defenders. Sif is in here. Like I said, there's pretty much an all-girls thing, which, whatever, I get it. It is what it is. I guess the Viking version, the Asgardian version of A-Force, whatever. As long as the story continues being good, I'm good with it. Betty Ray Bill is in it. I hate the idea that He doesn't have Stormbreaker with him anymore, but whatever, it is what it is. Suddenly, Thor's hammer shows up. Yes, it's Thor's hammer, not the Tino. It's Thor, Odin's son, him, Thor. The hammer shows up, it's got blood on it, and she's wondering, what the hell? Why did this hammer show up? Why did Mjolnir show up here? This is Jane Foster. Whose blood is that? What's going on? I love this because it's a mystery, and we are here for the mystery. We are here. We're learning about what's going on through mostly here Jane Foster's eyes. I know it keeps on shifting to the lesbian couple who's trying to go on a date with Never Have I Ever, whatever that thing is that I saw in Lost. I don't know what that stuff is, but whatever. Like, here's Jane Foster actually trying to figure out this mystery. What happened to Thor? Why did he send this hammer here? At one point, it's like, if he could have punched his way out of whatever trouble he's in, he would have done it by now. You know, it's like that faith that he knows what he's doing, that trust that he has in her. You remember, the hammer originally chose her because he was the unworthy Thor. Now, what did they do here? Showing without telling. And I loved this when I realized what they were doing. Now Thor chose her. Rock on. Rock on. I'm down with this. I'm down with this. Since they had to bring her back, I'm down with this. She goes and picks up the hammer. She starts turning into her inner god. Okay, really weird inner god stuff. But, you know, whatever. Who cares? Okay? She starts turning into Lady Jane Thor. And then she's like, you know, I can feel the power and everything, and that's why I resisted. And then she goes back to her Valkyrie form, still holding the hammer. There was some stuff said afterwards. Feel free to read it, you know, yourself. Me, I don't care what it said. That was awesome. That was awesome. When you're so confident in who you are, you don't need to pretend to be somebody else. You don't need another title. You don't need somebody else's power. You don't need whatever. It's like, dude, I got this. And she even tells Odin as much, because remember, Odin is in the hammer now, which is freaking weird. Anyway, so he goes and tries to talk to us, like, you know, and she's like, why am I hearing Odin's voice? I'm like, Odin, is that actually you? You old goat? I really liked so much of what I read in this comic book. This was really good. There are parts where I think like I could have made it better, but that was dumb. I could have made it better. No, that it could have been better. There's parts that I thought, you know, maybe if this went in front of a test audience, maybe it could have been cooler. But again, I have to remind myself of my primary goal when reading this. I don't want to write the comic books. I want to read the comic books. I want to read good comic books. You lose that. All the people I've talked to, think about what, you know, pretty much all of them have said. It was a better feeling when you were just writing the comic books. Now that you're reading, you know, when you're reading the comic books, now that you're writing the comic books, it's like, whatever I want happens, happens. That's why I read other people's comic books, because now I don't know what's going to happen. They call me up, dude, you're not going to believe this idea I've got for, you know, this comic book I'm writing. I don't want to hear it. I want to read it when it comes out. I'll see you in 3 months. Bye. Click. You know, I get it. I do. But this was good, right? For an old guy, right? 46. Next month I'll be 47. Yeah, in 32 days, July 8th. I'll be 47 years old. I'm old, tired of stuff. Watching the freaking Obi-Wan TV show, and I'm just pointing out, nuh-uh, Leia didn't meet him. No, she only saw him once when he was a baby, and then there was the whole thing, and he never fought, what's his name again? Darth Vader. He never fought him again. When last we met, I was but the learner, and you were the master. Now I'm the master, only a master of evil, Darth. I remember those lines. I remember the lines, right? Why don't the people who are making this TV show, why doesn't Deborah Chow remember those lines? Because he's master now. Well, whatever. Anyway, he's in the same position. No. And then at one point he knocks down the coals. He puts down the freaking lightsaber, and all of a sudden the freaking coals light up. Excuse me, lightsabers do not generate heat. Anybody remember that? That's why when they get, you know, they put them both together, they put the faces right next to each other like that. Their faces aren't getting suntanned because it doesn't generate heat. Like, what the frig? What the frig? It doesn't generate heat. Qui-Gon goes and sticks the things through, and it slowly starts to generate heat. But I thought they don't generate heat. No, they don't generate heat. Well, how'd that happen? Yeah, let's just ignite it now. He just really quick, like, when I go camping. I'm just like, with the ferro rod, boop, like that, and it lights right up. That's what happened here. Why is this stuff happening? I hate incongruity. I hate it when you can't keep with the actual legends and lore that you purchased, that we all came to see. I'm only coming back to see this stuff because I'm like, how are they going to do this? Leia doesn't have a hero's journey like Luke does. Leia's already leading people in this third episode of the thing. Right away, I know. People are like, when did this turn into a... Shut up. You can leave anytime you want. My point is, when did Leia, as a kid who she lifts her hand up over her head and it doesn't look like this, it looks like this because she's so small. Her head is big and her arms are little because she's just a little kid and whatnot. It's like she's so little, but she's already leading a freaking Master Jedi. She's leading a master. She's telling, go back and get Obi-Wan and da-da-da-da-da, and people can teleport. The Sith can teleport. That black chick, the third sister, she just suddenly shows up. It's like, you were following her down, and suddenly you appeared in front of her. How did you do that? Because they were running, and you just, boop. How did that happen? And Vader, he's like Jason Voorhees, just appears in front of you. Like, what the hell's happening here? I don't know. Anyway, it's too much nonsense for me. It's too much nonsense. I actually screamed at the freaking the TV because my wife's like, I just want to watch the episode because somebody told me that Ben Kenobi fights. And it's like, And by the way, why is Leia calling him Ben? When she gets on the thing, General Kenobi, you helped my father in the war. Like, did she just completely forget about him? Something this traumatic. Is she just going to completely forget? Were you my real father, Ben? Hello? Like, Leia doesn't, when they're in the Death Star and all this stuff, like, Ben knows, like, Obi-Wan is here? It's like, oh my God, I heard about Obi-Wan. I never met Obi-Wan. I heard about Obi-Wan, though. What is this stuff? Like, all of a sudden she knows who the guy is. And, are you my real dad? Stop that. Stop it. This isn't how it went. This isn't how it goes. Yeah, I don't get that. But that didn't happen in this comic book. You got to have fun with this stuff, guys. You got to have fun with this stuff. This was a good, fun comic book. And I'm genuinely glad that I decided to pick this one up. I'm genuinely glad I decided, you know what? Fine, bye. Because I haven't been feeling so hot about comic books as of late. Good about anything that's old but picked up by new people anymore as of late, as you can tell by the freaking Star Wars review. But something like this, seeing that this Viking guy who's writing this stuff, he's taking the old stuff, he's still incorporating the new stuff because it would feel funny if he didn't, right? And he's combining them and taking just enough so it feels like there's some continuity. And then he's delivering a great story. He's pushing right past all of that and giving the good story. I can't argue with the presentation here. I'm looking forward to the next issue. And I hope that the next issue starts to answer a couple of questions so that it can give us 2 more for each one it answers, right? That's what a number 2 should usually do. And then the ultimate question gets asked in issue 3. Issue 4 is like, okay, here's the lead up for the final battle. And issue 5 is when we see the final battle and we're like, oh. But for the most part, wow. The final image, that full page spread, I'm like, oh, how you doing? Looks like a kid, but it might just be the drawing because everybody's... I'm looking forward to the next issue. I hope you guys are too. Hope you guys are also going to like the video and watch an ad, but I don't have too much to do with that. All right, guys. Talk to you later. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.